Yeah, welcome to another episode of the AUS-X Exhaust podcast, brought to you by Yoshimura Exhaust, run by Justin Brayton, powering him to a fourth straight Australian Supercross Championship and the win at the Monster Energy AUS-X Open over the weekend. Last week's podcast did focus on that event, but I just want to say, for Brayton's sake, you know I love the guy. But I have to give credit here, whether I liked him or not. He said his goal was to win AUS-X Open for the first time. He said he had never really been able to go for that event and go for the race win because he normally comes in there with a big points lead and has to ride in protect mode. And he said this year he was glad to have a 1-point deficit in the standings to Luke Clout so he could just go for the win, and then hopefully that would allow him to win the title. Now, to be honest, I don't know when he said that if everyone believed, well, we got Anderson here and we got Savatgy here. Are you really going to do that? Well, Savatgy got hurt in practice, so that was a non-factor. But in the end, Brayton did exactly what he needed to do, and he did indeed win the AUS-X Open, and with that win the title. Impressive from JB. Now, Anderson went down in the first race while leading because Chad Reed still has it. Maybe only in the briefest of moments, but he was able to close in, get to the inside, and block past Anderson and knock him to the ground in the first main event. And that's all Brayton needed to go on to win the race. But Brayton rode awesome. The track was slippery. The pressure was high. Guys were crashing and going wild all over the place. And even with the championship pressure, he actually was the most calm, cool, collected, calculated rider on the track of all. He earned that win for the Penrite Honda team for the fourth straight year. Now, you might not have heard of Penrite Honda, but you soon will, because they just announced this morning, or tonight, depending on what time zone you're in, the Australian team announced they will be competing in the United States in 2020. They will have a 250 Supercross West outfit featuring the familiar freckled face of Mitchell Oldenburg and Australia's own Luke Clout, which oddly was Brayton's main competitor for this Australian Championship. But at that point, Clout was on the Craig Dack Racing Monster Energy Yamaha. Clout now switches to the Penrite Honda team and will get his shot at racing 250 Supercross in the United States. Why is Penrite coming here? Why is an Australian team setting up in the United States? Well, the shorter answer is this. Their team owner is crazy. He is so passionate for the sport, and that's what you're going to hear in this interview. We like to say that, a guy wins something or they accomplish something and they get really emotional. We say that all the time. They don't really get emotional. Let's be honest. How many times have you seen a rider holding a number one plate and see them cry or really look like it's broken them down? I think Dylan Ferrandis did this year when he clinched the title in Vegas, but that's what made it stick out more because you do not see that type of reaction very often. But you can hear it with Yarrive Konsky, the team owner, who I'll interview in this edition of the podcast. He has overcome with emotion winning these titles. He has overcome with emotion because the AUS-X Open victory and because AUS-X Open was so big and successful this year. He's got this big thing to tackle the United States now. That's big. And more importantly, he just absolutely, positively loves dirt bikes. It is continuing a theme that I had on last week's show. The thing I picked up most going to New Zealand and Australia over the course of 3 weeks is just the passion that these people around the world have. And when we're able to take the gloves off a little bit, and it's not a full-on, I'm here to kill you and you're here to kill me because I want to win Anaheim and I want to win the title, when that gets peeled back just a little bit, and the super intense guys are a little bit more relaxed, you get to realize that everyone has something in common, and that is that they absolutely love this sport. And there might not be a man that loves it more than Yarrive. So please listen to this interview. It's very fascinating, and you can hear the emotion in his voice throughout it. Oh, what a dream it is to have a team, to win a race, to have a race this big, to come into the United States. Just a great guy. When this starts, we were actually at the end of the press conference, so you'll hear some of the riders chatting in the background. That lasts for a couple minutes, and everybody leaves the room, and it's just Yarrive and myself. Brayton does walk by at one point just to say bye. So enjoy it. This is raw emotion, probably about a half hour after the race and after the championships were won in both classes. Brayton and also Chris Blose won the Australian SX2 250 title. And go to Yoshimura-RD.com for more on the Yoshimura exhaust. Here is Yarrive.
First of all, congratulations. You've obviously won titles and races at this level before, but to win both, to win under pressure, where's this night emotionally for you?
I haven't slept well for the past, I'd say 6 weeks since Justin called me from the hospital.
Seriously?
Yeah, and they know it. Like, it's been bad. And I've just been nervous. And I worry about him as well, being prepared for A1. I mean, I'm conscious of that because we have a good program that enables him to get ready for A1. So, yeah, the last 5-6 weeks have been tough. I flew up to Queensland after he got hurt just to make sure he was all right, make sure he was in the right headspace. So, coming into this race, I didn't know where he'd finish. I really don't. I mean, it's that's why we love the sport. It's the unpredictability of the end result that keeps making you come again and again and again and lining up. So, yeah, I didn't know where we would finish. I knew all my riders were definitely capable. I mean, Medi showed how well he was riding at New Zealand. But you just don't know what's going to happen. When that gate drops and 20 guys are trying to funnel in, I think there was maybe a 1 metre area to get into that.
Yeah, there was a gnarly first turn setup.
So all I did was just watch the big screen and just prayed that we were going to get through cleanly and then let the race unfold.
Why are you doing this? What do you do this for? Is this because it's business? Is this just passion? Explain your reasoning for running a team like this.
Justin will tell you, and I keep a very private life, but I sleep on the floor in the workshop. I mean, I live in my workshop. Everything I've got, I put back in. My dad migrated to Australia with very little, and I very quickly learned that if you want to do something, you need to. It's not a sacrifice, by the way. I was saying this last night in another discussion with everyone at Honda. I took everyone out and I said, I can't remember what I did yesterday, which is a blessing because it just means that I'm enjoying my work so much that I can't remember what I did a week ago, but to give you an understanding, I worked 3 jobs. Last weekend I was in Newcastle for Supercars, the weekend before in New Zealand. The weekend before I was in Sandown at the Brisbane round. I had to fly from Bathurst to Brisbane back to Bathurst.
Jeez.
So everything I've got I put in, and some people are probably questioning why I'm coming to America next year to do West Coast, but I'm 45 this past week, and I remember just with so much anticipation waiting for the Fox videos to come out of the rounds of Supercross. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember which track it was, but they had those whoops that were going around like a corner, like a semicircle. And Lamson's there, and he's got his yellow Fox body armour on, and McGrath's, got everything that is basically influenced where I'm at. And I would watch Mitch Payton with his bikes, and Justin will tell you how focused I am on trying to find mainstream partners. And I just, from there, I mean, I loved it. I raced. I probably let the doubters affect my racing, and I promised myself never to do that again. I mean, 32 broken bones played a part. Ooh. But, yeah, man, I used to work in a gas station. I've worked at a motorbike shop. I mean, I to be able to go racing, I'd work at a nightclub and then go to the track and race for many years. But I love it. I would save my money to go to the news agency, to buy Racer X, to buy ADB, Motocross Action. I mean, for whatever reason, when my parents broke up, we went to my cousins, and the first time I got to get on a bike was at their place, and I was able to escape from anything and everything that I felt that was hurting me. And since then, I and Justin will tell you, I flew to America twice just this year to do some riding. And he would hear me tapping away at 3 a.m. in the morning, which is like 5 o'clock in Australia, so everyone's getting up, and vice versa, or just about to go to bed. But I love it. I love it. I think it's one of the most amazing sports, and it's a sport that teaches you self-discipline, and if you put in, you'll get something back. And sorry, I've gone around in circles there.
I love this though. This is gold.
So it's the first year he came out, we didn't know each other too well. I mean, it was an Instagram message that got us together. I sent him an Instagram message. He didn't even know what Instagram was. He was injured. He was with BTO. And his wife said, looks like you've got a whole heap of messages. And he messaged me back. And in a really small space of time, we got everything together through Honda Australia and American Honda. Dan Bentley was great. And he came out, turned up to the first race, flew home after he won it in Jimboomba because he had his brother-in-law's wedding. And it's the last 2 years particularly that we've developed a really special friendship. And he knows it. I mean, he 100% knows it. The door's open for him. I'll do whatever I can to help him. And his family. I mean, I stayed at their house. His wife made sure I had breakfast in the morning before we drove out to Club MX. And his kids run to me and give me a hug. And to me, that's probably the most priceless reward for the relationship that we've developed, is that he's got his Beckham. He's just a little older than one now, and my Reeve, he calls me. But just to hear him say it, I mean, it just, yeah. And I turned up to his place where he was staying in Mornington, and I mean, he bought me a Specialized e-bike for my birthday. I mean, that's that's a relationship that's not based on anything other than love. Plus, he doesn't want me to get fat as I get older. But yeah,
Riders aren't usually buying stuff for their team owner. They're just asking for more stuff usually.
He said, "Do you want to come out for dinner on my birthday?" And I'd been pretty tired and a bit emotional. Like, there's a lot going on, and there's always expectations. And when you win once, when you get second, they're questioning you.
Yeah.
I think that's what Casey Stoner and Villapoto and Dungy and Reed, they all go through, is that when they get a third, what's wrong?
Yep.
What happened?
Yep.
Well, it's the same for us as a team owner. But we're getting every sponsor calling us, asking us questions. But anyway, he said to me, "Do you want to come for dinner?" And I said, "Yeah, cool. Do you want to bring anyone?" I said, "Yeah, let's just ask the boys." I turned up. We had dinner. And he goes, "I'll just come back to the house for a red." I'll be honest, I didn't have a red. We went back to the house, and he goes, I got to get something for you. And I said, "Okay, cool." And he pulls out a Specialized e-bike. You barely get people remembering it's your birthday. I mean, the number of riders that I've supported over the years. But Paige, his wife's always sending me messages about how much of a family we are. So, it's extraordinary.
So Penrite, that's a sponsor. That's not your thing. You just have gotten is your full-time job just this team and collecting sponsors and working it, or
no? So I have a media agency.
Okay.
I love creative, so we do a lot of creative artwork. We do a lot of promotional items. We have some really good clients. I have a decent contracted role with one of our biggest supercar teams. We've got 4 cars on the track. I've been there 3 years.
Wow.
My role with Penrite is the owner of Penrite, and I used to race. Well, his father owned it, and unfortunately Toby's father passed away. And in 2009 or 10, he came to me and said, "I need help." And the business was small. Mm-hmm. It was a $15-20 million business. So we just started creating marketing ideas, working on promotional items, doing TV commercials, just different things that I love doing. But it's his drive and his family's drive, but they turned that business into a thriving business of doing more than $200 million a year now. And
see you on the flight, I guess, eh? Good luck, gang. We'll see whose kids are worse.
But
you got it.
You're definitely valuable. And
literally Brayton saying bye. All right, here we go.
He'll be back at the thing. But when I first talking about sponsorship in 2008, Honda said we're going to outsource our entire program. You're doing a really good job with our 250 program and your riding schools. And they said, "Here's the amount of money." And I'm thinking, okay, well, I don't think it's enough.
Okay.
All right, leave it with me. And then I brought in one of the first mainstream sponsors into our sport in Woodstock Bourbon, a big bourbon company.
Okay.
And they stayed with us for 3 years. I remember McGrath came out and rode under the Woodstock Bourbon banner, which was, pretty big for me. Like that in itself, just having him in the truck was pretty cool. And then they got bought out by Asahi Beer, and then they had a different mindset, which is what always happens with managers. And then I went to the company that owns Foster's, and then we had them for 3 years. And then again, some management. And I went through some difficult times as well, financially, if I'm honest. And, the GFC hit hard. Mm-hmm. So my budget from Honda got cut by 65-70%.
Wow.
So anyway, from there it was like, okay, and then Penrite was pushing. So then between Penrite and a few other sponsors, they were only a partner, like the lubricants partner. They're like, no, we want to go big, and we haven't looked back.
Wow. So yes, you've alluded to, I'm sure there'll be announcements coming. Now you're going to start racing in the U.S. Is that just to fulfill a dream, or do you have like a long-term goal here? Is it just to check a box, or do you have like a maybe 5 years, 10 years, what you want it to be?
I think about it a lot, actually, Weege. If an opportunity came up to work with one of the teams over there, I'd probably do it. There's no ego here. American Supercross is the highest accolade to be involved in as a sport in terms of the rewards you get from doing well. I'm not going over there with any premonitions of how we're going to do. My contract, this is not coming out until tomorrow or anything, is it? Or a few days? Cool. Yeah. So I'd signed Luke Clout 4 months ago.
Okay. And when was that not? Give me an idea of how... When am I not allowed to say that to?
No, you can. We're going to put a press release out Monday.
Okay, yeah. We'll make sure that...
Yeah. So I signed Luke Clout, I think it was back in August. Mm-hmm. Might have been July or August. He came looking for a ride. Things hadn't been finalised where he was at, and Luke's ridden for me before several times. I really like how hungry he is. Like, he gives everything. It's sad that what happened tonight, especially the way it happened, and hopefully he'll learn from that. But I said to Luke, look, do you want to race a few Supercrosses in America? JB is willing to help. I've been here with JB. Do you want to do it? And he's like, yep. I said, okay, cool. We'll do the first 4 or 5 rounds. Wait till the calendar comes out and just decide on what we're doing. And then I thought, okay, well, if I'm doing this, why don't I do the entire West Coast Championship? And then I thought, okay, how am I going to go about doing it? What sponsors can I bring across? This would be cool. It is a dream. But ideally, unfortunately, I don't have any dependents. I'd love to be married, and I'd ideally love to have some children, but in this situation, I'm fortunate enough that I don't have it, so I can go and try this. But if this led to an opportunity to work over there with one of the factory teams, that would be great. And if not, and this helps foster the opportunity for whether it's Mitchell Oldenburg, who's riding with us next year in America, or Luke Clout, fantastic. I've always been of the mindset that if I can help develop, nurture and build riders and give them opportunities, then great. Over here, I also look after Honda's amateur program, where we give 10 kids 3 motorbikes and parts. And, if I tell the truth, I love it so much that I want to continue to be involved. And the next step for me is America.
So if this came down to just like a business or making money or a job, this wouldn't make any sense. Like, you could do, you have this creative agency, or you work with these V8 supercar teams. There are many other things you could do with this time. So that's not why you're doing this. This isn't really your business. This is just what you want to do.
Quite a few years back, someone that I was working with said if you focused on what we were doing, which was really building the agency and doing some of the creative and promotional stuff, he's going, Yarrive, you'll be driving a Porsche and, you've got some good clients. And I'm like, but that doesn't fulfill anything that I want. I laughed this morning. I was driving a Renault Kangoo, and I've made the boys drive it thanks to one of our sponsors. They lent us a car.
Okay.
And I said to Duff, I pulled up at the lights, and this chick was really keen on me.
All right.
She wasn't keen at all.
Oh.
I looked like I was driving a bakery van.
She might have some stock.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it doesn't bother me. I mean, I've spent my entire life driving a van, and I'm not. I'm proud of the things I have, but the thing that matters most is turning up on Saturday, and if people are looking to be satisfied out of material objects, then they're not happy within themselves. They're looking for something to give them that 5-minute fix. I must admit, my emotions go up and down as a team owner, more than anyone could imagine. But I mean it. If I told you how much I've worked over the last 25 years, you'd be blown away. But I seriously can't remember what I did yesterday or last week.
It's just a blur.
It is.
You've kind of fostered. Look, Brayton was, like you said, he was riding for BTO. It was a KTM team at the time. He kind of jumped on Honda because of your team. He got a Honda deal in the U.S. Now he's back on the factory team. I mean, you're not 100% directly responsible for all that, but you certainly are you are responsible for it in a way.
And
That's got to make you proud.
He shares that with me.
Yeah.
He constantly messages me and reminds me that together we brought this. It's his talent.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never, ever take that away from him, because without his talent, drive, discipline, I mean, he's still learning. This is what's crazy. I mean, we talk a lot, and I'm like, okay, so this is what's happened this week, this is what's happened there, the psychology of sport, let's look at this, and he's constantly learning. And I think that's the thing that frightens him the most, is that there's still so much potential, and he's like, okay, well, am I at my peak? Should I quit now? I mean, all of these guys question it when they're over 30, and he's like, but I'm still learning. Mm-hmm. And to be a part of that experience, I'm still learning. You know, I take things away from him that I can hopefully help Mitchell Oldenburg with. Mm-hmm. And even Chris Blose, we have to sit back and evaluate where we were after the first 2 rounds. I mean, I've had some really great young kids come through. Matty Phillips wins a World Enduro Championship. I've had quite a few young guys that have come through that have blown me away with what they've been able to achieve. One of the ones that has been the most rewarding is Gavin Faith came out and won 3 championships for us. When I first brought him out in 2011 or 12, people thought I was nuts. Who's this guy 617 that Yarrive's brought out? But you just see things in certain people and you just warm to them, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
My final thing is, I've been here 3 weeks now, and everyone keeps telling me you don't understand how big a deal this is for Australia to be in this type of stadium, have this kind of crowd. To me, it's normal. Like, I had to keep reminding myself I wasn't in the United States. It felt like any other Supercross. So just give me that perspective, the Australian guys saying, dude, these are not races that we ever thought we'd maybe even ever have.
We had 30+ thousand here tonight, and we have a population of 22 million. So
Jeez.
Put that into perspective. Yeah. You guys have 330 million,
right?
And you're getting 45 to 55,000.
Yeah.
We had, even call it 30 and be conservative, 1,000 people for 23 million.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest thing about what AME are doing is introducing our sport to new people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I assume you'll agree, you meet people down the street. I've invited so many people. My mum came tonight. I think that's probably the 10th time she's come, and I'm 45. And she rang me and she goes, that was amazing. I brought some friends.
Yeah.
My mum's in her late 60s, and she's like, I brought some friends, and they were blown away. And I'm like, the more people we can introduce to the sport, the better. We not only introduced new people to the sport, we introduced the state government to the sport.
Okay.
So what AME did this weekend was open the doors for greater support for the youth coming through, for government grants, for training, for awareness in rider safety, for educational programs.
Wow.
So they've introduced our sport to such a bigger platform of corporate clients and the government sector that I don't think we really know how good this was for our sport. The venue, extraordinary.
Yeah.
AME put a great show on.
Yep.
You know, they understand the back end of the business. But for me, as a team owner, what I go home with going, if I say to someone, Supercross, more people are going to go, yeah, I saw that on TV, or I heard the radio ad, or I saw the print media, and, you know, they didn't see that last year. we were regionalised being in Geelong. Still a huge crowd for Geelong, but we weren't in the hub. So Melbourne hasn't seen a Supercross like this, I'd say for, what are we in, 2019? I'd say for close to, well, I think Pora was the last one when Chad Reed was involved, so maybe 2009, 2008 of this magnitude.
Oh, yeah, there was that, what do they call it? A Super X.
Super X.
Yeah.
So this is great. I had 267 people here as supporters of our team, and people who brought their clients who have just been messaging. So why do I think this is great for our sport? This is new.
Yeah.
You know, we had 11,000 people in Geelong. That's an hour drive.
Yeah.
We had 20,000 more people here.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, from my personal opinion, we introduced our sport to people that we need to see what our sport is, because it might be a little bit different in America, but there's still this perception that we're tattooed, bikey junkies that tear up rainforests. And we need to change that. So a lot of people are going to go away from this. I mean, the number of people growing up that used to say to me, "Oh, so you do crusties? So you do the
freestyle?"
It's like, no. And they're like, "Oh, so what do you do?" "Oh, we race." "Oh, so you don't do the backflips?"
Yeah.
So they're going to come out, the new audience that we attracted this weekend are going to go away going, "That's professional.
Yeah.
They're athletes. This is a sport."
Yeah.
And that's priceless.
You know, it's funny, though. That is the same thing that happens in the United States. At this scale, you go to Anaheim and you think, man, America loves Supercross. We are always a niche sport. In every country, it's a niche sport. I'm sure, hey, Roger DeCoster's from Belgium. It seems like it's their national sport. It's probably small in Belgium compared to soccer or ice hockey or something like that. So it's what we're always fighting and what we always want, that people understand what this actually is. So that's what I've learned from everybody here. Like, they're like, you don't understand how big this is. So, and then you actually win during it. So this is going to go down as one of your best, most memorable. You might actually
winning the championship was great. Okay, yeah. I'm not going to say that it wasn't.
Yeah.
Winning AUS-X Open.
Yeah.
Okay, with 3 directors from Honda here.
Okay.
That haven't been to a Supercross.
These are Australian or
no, one Japanese.
Oh boy, okay.
And I'm sitting there going, okay, and they all ran down to be on the near the podium.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I haven't had this. I haven't had this level of support and encouragement, and they were engaged.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Murasawa-san's down here, okay, and him and Justin are hugging it out. And Sam from American Honda was here this weekend. It's, people will know what we did, and hopefully the support just gets continued.
Oh, that was a good one. One of my favorite interviews in quite some time. You'll get to see Yarrive at the races this year. I don't know if he's going to be at every one, but judging by how invested he is in this program, yeah, I'm pretty sure he will be at each one of these Supercross races in the United States in 2020. Hope you enjoyed that window into the heart, soul, mind of a guy who's given all of that for the sport. It's all brought to you by Yoshimura. Go to yoshimura-rd.com to learn all about the Yoshimura exhaust systems, including the new RS12 system for the Suzuki RMZ 250 and 450. Developed in conjunction with JGR and Yoshimura Suzuki Factory Racing. Now that exhaust is available to you, and I bet you it'll be available for other brands of motorcycles before long. So go to yoshimura-rd.com for more on that and everything else they do. Got a new issue of the magazine that I believe dropped today. Go to racerxonline.com/subscribe and get in on it. I think there's still time to get yourself a calendar for 2020. The Whole Shot Edition calendar. Awesome photos. Calendars are still a thing. So go get it. And thanks for listening. I'm Jason Wygant. Talk to you next week.